Vermont is one of 4 states holding primaries Tuesday. If Democratic first-time gubernatorial candidate Christine Hallquist wins her primary, she will be one step closer toward becoming the nation's first transgender governor. We spoke Monday. I asked her why she wanted to run for office in the first place.
Vermont's a place where we all pull together to do big things. And we pull together despite our differences. But if I look at our current governor, he's been focusing on division rather than unity and solidarity. And he's also been attacking our public education system.
I want to ask you more about issues in just a moment. But if you win on Tuesday, you'll be the first transgender gubernatorial nominee in the nation. Is that distinction important to you or to your campaign?
You know, Vermonters are going to elect me on what I'm going to do for Vermont. You know, Vermonters been always a leader in civil rights, and we have some of the best transgender protection laws in the country. It's a state that's really welcomed me with open arms, and I think that's not going to be so much an issue in Vermont. It will be historic for the nation, and I'm proud of being that person that helps the nation widen its moral compass.
Well, and more broadly, several other transgender women ran or are running for public office this year. Do you think that we'll see more in the future?
Well, I think it's all part of the wave that's happening. You know, if you look at the number of women running, you know, in the world of physics, we say for every action there's an opposite and opposing reaction, and what we're seeing in 2018 is a reaction to 2016. And I'm very excited about the fact that we may be able to change the direction of our country through a healthy democracy.
Well, let's talk specifically about your state. What issues matter most to Vermont voters this year?
You know, I've talked to thousands of Vermonters, and 95% of Vermonters have the same concerns. It's about, can my children have jobs here? Is my job secure? In rural Vermont, we're seeing communities where stores are closing and people have to come to Burlington to shop. You know, it's really a microcosm of what's happening in rural America. We're seeing increasing rates of poverty, flights to the city, as well as an aging demographic.
Well, what would you want to tackle first if you became governor?
Well, certainly, I have a long vision for Vermont in terms of how we change this demographic and restore growth to rural Vermont. You know, I will connect every home and business with fiber optic cable so that Vermonters can be connected to the internet at the same speed as the large cities.
Because I think, just to explain more specifically here, a lot of folks, for instance, in New York City might not understand just how big of an issue that is in some parts of rural Vermont.
Yeah, you know, what we're seeing in rural Vermont and rural America is the same thing that happened in the 1930s, when the cities had electricity and rural America did not. You know, forgive me for my bias, but I think that resulted in humankind's greatest work, which is the electrification of rural America. So we wired every home and business in America before. We can do it again with fiber optic cable, because you can't, you know, 60% of the landmass in Vermont, people just can't get connected to the internet. And it's so critical for business. Can you imagine trying to run a business without being able to be connected?
Well, as you know, there has been a great deal of discussion about the future of the Democratic Party. And I'm wondering, are there any national Democrats that you look to as the future of the party?
Well, yes. You know, I look at Kamala Harris, and I certainly have a lot of respect for her. I think, of course, Bernie has been getting the message out to America for a long time about what we have to do. You know, these ideas that some people are labeling as progressive, they aren't progressive at all. You know, let's stop making profits on people sick and dying, and let's put in improved Medicare for all. Let's get people to a living wage. You know, there's been a systematic attack on the working class for over 30 years now, and so, you know, we've got to change this. So I think these messages are all about the working class in America.
All right, Christine Hallquist. Christine, thanks very much for your time.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.